I am so happy to be making this series again. It never really got a lot of views, but I love making these. Guys, we're looking at Legacy of Darkness, a 2003 Yu-Gi-Oh set. Came out in the TCG here in the United States in June, I think, June 6th. I looked it up a few minutes ago. I think it's June 6th. It looked like this might jog some memories for some of you guys. These are, the background here with who is that behind it? It's one of the spirit monsters. I think this is where the spirit monsters came from, was from this set. You can see pretty much all the cards behind on the tier list there. This is the set where the legendary Yata-Garasu comes from, who I cannot get into this crop. But he is right here on our tier list. So let's close out our crop. We'll open that back up, take a look at some of the cards. But here are the costs right now, the prices of these cards. If you go on tcgplayer.com, these are market prices of the cards. You might be able to find some copies of these cards for cheaper, depending on the condition of them. And this is from the original release of the set. This is not from the English re-release. Now, the Legacy of Darkness was not included this year in the 25th anniversary, so no worry about getting any 25th anniversary cards and confusing them as OGs. This was not re-released in that way. It was released worldwide, though, so if you have a card on it, let me go ahead and pull this back up. If we can see Lesser Fiend here, Lesser Fiend, when we look at it here, okay, we can't see it. Can I move it? Oh god, everything's going wrong. Can we look at Lesser Fiend right here? Lesser Fiend. There we go. If you look at that, you can see LOD003. It's very, very small, but LOD003, that does mean Legacy of Darkness, and that is the original one. So the English re-release would be EN003. So just some explanation there if, like me, you're relatively new to, well, I don't know if I'm relatively new, but newer to cards. Let's go ahead and take a look at this tier list, the cards that we got, the prices. This is my Yu-Gi-Oh! What It's Worth series, where we take a look at the prices. My cat has come here to join us. Not sure if her meows are getting over the mic. Market price more than $10. Only 3 cards from this set are worth more than $10. The legendary Yata-Garasu, banned for years, but now actually unbanned. We also have Injection Fairy Lily. And finally, we have a card that I always forget the name of, Royal Oppression, a trap card. So 3 very, very high-priced cards here. Yata-Garasu has a market price of over $40. If we take a look at our overlay here, yeah, Yata-Garasu there, market price of $43 currently. Going down, ooh, that's not going to work, is it? I can't see my preview when I do that screen. Let's toss that there. Moving some things around on the second monitor. Here we go. Injection Fairy Lily right there. Market price about half that of Yata-Garasu, but still $22. Injection Fairy Lily looks kind of dumb, but actually a very, very good card back in the day. And a lot of people still play these old Yu-Gi-Oh formats. One's very popular called the GOAT format. So whenever I sell cards from this set, I don't have a whole lot of LOD cards, but whenever I do have some sell, I always assume the person is either just a collector or they're playing an old format like GOAT. Taking a look at these, I don't unfortunately have any of these cards up here, but I do have some of the common that we'll get to. Going down, Royal Oppression there, market price of $11. So those are the only cards right now that are over $10. Yamada Dragon, which is the cover card, I believe, of this set, is at $9.72. We can see it right here. Going down a few cards, we can't go through all of them, but we do get Arknight Parshath, who has been retrained recently. We have Tyrant Dragon, who appears in a ton of Dragon-type cards in the artwork, specifically spell cards. We have Creature Swap, very, very famous card for a long time. Fiber Jar, one of the most degenerate cards of all time. Absolutely stupid card that resets your game. I think it's still banned. I think this card is still banned, and probably rightfully so. We have Luster Dragon number 2. Now, this one's interesting because if you have the super rare Luster Dragon number 2 that says Luster Dragon number 2, it is worth over $5. We can see it right here, market price of $6.32. By the way, when we see this right here, 25 listings as low as 99 cents, that 99-cent listing may well be a damaged, ripped copy. So the market price is just that average price. There may be mint condition ones selling for more. There may be, damaged or heavily played copies selling for less. With the older cards especially, sometimes the market price can be a bit inflated, but I think it is the fairest thing to go off of. Going down a little bit here, we have Last Turn, again showing Yamada Dragon in that art, and that is going to be our last card that is worth more than $5. We have Marauding Captain at $4.99. Marauding Captain, one of the most famous cards from this set. We see it on our tier list over here at right at the top of this $5 to $2 range, basically. Underneath that, we have the Hinokagusuchi, so a spirit monster. So this set introduced spirit monsters. I think it introduced spirit monsters. It definitely introduced a lot of them. I believe Yamada Dragon from earlier was one. We also have Ashura Priest. Coming up next, that is LOD also had some really random fusion monsters like Ryu Senshi. And then later down in our tier list, we have the Robo-Aru, so the Robo-Aru boy. Is that what they're called? Robo Lady? Robo-Aru and Robo Lady. Anyway, the fusions that they fused together for. Iconic, but not very good, I would say. Moving right along, again, not going to go through all of these, but if we go down a little bit, something I found interesting is Dark Ruler Hades, not worth that much, a couple dollars. Hades was released as a secret rare around the same time in a tin, so some people do have that, and that may be worth a little bit more. I actually used to have that one. I think I sold it. We also have a very iconic card, Second Coin Toss, if you are playing coin flips and whatnot. Probably something you want to be using. But something I passed here that I want to make sure I cover, here's some of those random fusions we talked about, is Reinforcements of the Army, Rhoda, one of the most iconic Yu-Gi-Oh cards of all time and most well-played and heavily printed. The original Magic card copy of this card got released here in Legacy of Darkness, so you can get yourself an OG super rare copy of this card for $3. Not very bad for an old and very good card. This card still has use today in warrior-based decks, even in the full meta strategy, the full card pool and whatnot. Another interesting card that can still be played is not on this page. We're going to have to go to the second page for this. It is Bottomless Trap Hole here. Bottomless Trap Hole recently being re-released in the Trap Trick deck that just got released. Trap Trick Structure deck. Love me some Trap Holes. I don't know why this picture isn't loading, but, there it is. I also want to point out here we have Luster Dragon again. We already saw this card. This card was worth $6. However, this card is a little bit different. It's the name. Did you notice? Luster Dragon. This just says Luster Dragon. So if you have a Luster Dragon and it says number 2 on it, that's worth $6. And if you don't, it's going to be down here in $1.25. You'd have to actually bring it down here right above Bottomless Trap Hole right there. So that's where Luster Dragon would fall to if you have a copy that is printed without the number 2. So that was a printing change they made because Luster Dragon number 1 was actually never released in the English market. It is a card in Japan, but it was never released over here. So, yeah, at least I don't think. Let me Google before I make myself look stupid. Luster Dragon number 1. I think this is the one. Oh, I typed in Luther Dragon. That's good. Luster Dragon number 1 here. Oh, Luster Dragon number 1 is this card. Oh, you know what it was? I got that story backwards. That was stupid. I got that story backwards. So this is the original printing of the card, I think, is Luster Dragon. And then they ended up releasing that other one, so they changed it to number 2. I believe that's what happened. A weird change. I don't know why they didn't just change the name, especially because of the release schedule. But hey, it is what it is. Go down here, you're going to start getting into the under $1 cards. Twin-Headed Behemoth, very, very interesting card. One of the first and only cards that has, I believe it is a twice per duel activation effect. Let's take a look, see if we can see a closer look at this right there. Definitely blurry. Not sure I can get that. Okay. Yeah, great. Thanks, TCG player. Yeah, I believe... Oh, we can read it right here. I can read it. You can't read it. If this monster is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, this monster is special summoned with an attack and defense of 1,000 during the end phase of this turn. This effect can only be used once during the current duel. So a once per turn, I don't know why I said twice, but once per duel effect, which was one of the only once per duel effects in the game at the time. Interesting card there. Emergency Provisions, a card used in a lot of spell-based strategies. We're now under $1. Great Long Nose. I hate this card. Why does it look like that? Going down here, we see the Fiend Comedians. We see the Warrior returning alive. Excuse me, has been used in a lot of decks over the years as well. Warrior-based strategies, as we said with Rhoda earlier. We have Convulsion of Nature, which is one of my favorite-looking cards. All those natural disasters on one page. Bad Reaction to Samochi, which for some reason I always remember the name of this card. So I always remember the name of this card and Giant Snake Syndrome, which is in Pharaonic Guardian, which is the next set. But I don't know, something about that name always stuck with me. I always knew the name of it. We have some of the other spirit monsters, which were never very good. Otohime, Thundercat Neon Neon, not a spirit monster, but a little iconic there for some reason. For probably some degenerate reasons. Robo Aru, that's what he is, and Robo Lady. This is specifically Super Robo Lady. Now, something interesting about the tier list here, moving over here, you have Robo Aru, who is worth, if we just take a look at that, Robo Aru has a market value of 37 cents right now, and as does Super Robo Aru, Robo Ladies. They have actually switched around. They're worth the same, but their ranking was switched when I did this. And I do apologize, but there is always going to be changes being made in the exact rankings of which of these cards is worth. Sorry, I can't talk, and I do these in one take, so we're going to keep going. Robo Aru, Super Robo Lady. I'm going to mess those names up if I don't slow down. They're worth about the same, 37 cents. And then later down on the tier list, we do see Super Robo Aru, who is still in the same bracket as them, worth a few cents less. But we don't see Robo Lady regular until all the way down here in less than 25 cents. So it is by far the least popular card in that archetype, as 4 of them there are, 3 of them up here and 1 down there. This tier list was going so well. Sorry, I just woke up, and I got more lists to record. There we go, Robo Aru, 34 cents. We also see a Legendary Ocean for water-based strategies, a card that is used a lot. You can get it for 34 cents, which actually is not a bad price at all for a card that can still be meta-relevant in some rogue cases. There's probably better options. 1800 attack beater and Octoclops. That was very easy to get back in the day. What else do we have here? Anything interesting? Not really a whole lot interesting there. As we keep going down the tier list, we see some of these cards worth less than 25 cents, depending on the edition and whatnot that you want. They could be worth even less than that. If you're trying to sell them, you obviously want to make sure your corners are sharp, your card is looking good. Something I did want to point out here or take a look at is Wolf Axe Wielder. Very obscure card. I have a misprinted copy of this card where the title of it is very misprinted, and I'm not sure that means anything or is worth anything, but I think just for the heck of it, I may get it graded, and I may share that on my Instagram if you are interested in seeing cards and stuff like that. I will link my Instagram down below. With all that, I think I've probably rambled enough. We've been talking for 12 minutes about this. Let me go ahead and get rid of this overlay. Taking a look at the tier list here, if you are looking to sell any of these cards, these are the approximate values you can expect. But if you wait too long after the release of this video, the prices may change. I did rank these for the first time about 6 months ago, and I did have to come in here and move some things around. Some cards definitely lost a little bit of value. It's not a huge deal. Like Yata-Garasu is always going to be around 40 bucks if you do have one of those lying around. And some other fun cards here that do hold their value. But with that said, this is Legacy of Darkness from June 6, 2003. This is what it's worth, the Yu-Gi-Oh series I am working on. And if you liked this video, if you're somehow still listening, I appreciate the viewership. Consider following, subscribing, whatever it's called on YouTube, because I will be doing Pharaonic Guardian here pretty soon. Thank you for watching. Appreciate your support. Have a great day.